Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program will begin in a few moments.
Nails. Big quick on the neck. Don't muck me up. Be stiff on the back. Don't need your blood. Just give me some sweat. Don't trust your luck. This isn't a threat.
Well, welcome to the future of financials and operations. My name is Paul Farrell. I'm Vice President of Product Management for Industries. I hope everyone was able to attend Gary's product keynote this morning and Evan's yesterday, as he gave an insight into a number of our recent features and a glimpse into what is to come. I love the fact that Gary's theme was video games. I'm an avid video games collector, especially old 8-bit era, when developers were developers and had to squeeze everything into 4K, the limit of the Atari 2600 if anyone's old enough to know that system. However, it's a good analogy for business software. If we take a driving game, what you were able to do was limited by the technology. This is Atari Night Driver, one of the first driving video games released in the 70s. I didn't know it in the 70s, but it was still in the arcades in the 80s. But as technology improved, so did the experience and feeling of speed in really driving. Now, down at the bottom, I've just got a couple of sort of business snapshots. The one on the left is a spreadsheet. And I blurred it out because I just looked for a sort of an 8-bit spreadsheet off the web, but I didn't know if the names were made sense or they were inappropriate. I've been in the US 20 years and I still use terms that people find humorous here, so I've blurred it out just in case. But but with the business solutions are very similar. You know, as the technology improved, delivering the experience, automation, and insights that users desired to drive the overall performance of the business improved, through to where we are today, where the technology almost mimics the real world. With business solutions, it's the same. Accounts payable is the same thing that all business has done since the beginning of commerce. However, with new technology, the speed, accuracy, and visibility have massively reduced the time and costs needed to do it. Across NetSuite, we continue to use the latest technologies to reinvent functionality, streamline existing processes in new ways, and add new functionality that will help you become more competitive and to grow. When we develop NetSuite, we really want you to be able to excel operationally so that you can run and grow the business the way that you want. Maximize your resources, take advantage of international opportunity, sell your solutions in new and inventive ways without needing to worry about having the systems available to support your growth. We are designing, delivering functionality to seamlessly support you through all of this. On the financial side, we want to make sure that all of those operational initiatives are seamlessly supported via the financials, automating them accurately and producing timely reporting that the business needs and crushing all compliance and tax requirements. We want you to be able to excel both operationally and financially. And you, our customers, are doing this. As mentioned yesterday, we have over 32,000 customers that are successfully running their ever-increasingly sophisticated businesses on NetSuite. We are truly one of the only solutions that supports emerging businesses through to multi-billion-dollar global enterprises, and of course, everyone in between. You're running companies in 217 countries and dependent territories. And although we have 32,000 customers, your customers are running over 250,000 operating subsidiaries or companies on NetSuite. And incredibly, over 50% of our customers are running across multiple countries. As you saw with Gary's high scores this morning, you're excelling operationally and financially, and we want to continue this. So across our industries, services industries, including professional, administrative, financial, hospitality, matter of fact, all service industries, software companies, not-for-profits, and our product-based businesses, manufacturers, distributors, and retailers, we're delivering new features to support each of the value streams. Optimize cash and profits, create and deliver products and services, acquire and grow customers, and hire and empower employees. And we're using ease, automation, insight, intelligence, and of course, sweetness to drive this innovation. I'm going to build on what we heard yesterday from Evan and earlier with Gary to give you a bit more detail on some of those features and also cover many of the others that are helping you excel. So let's start with the core of the business, optimizing cash and profits, so the financials. We've been investing and will be continue investing in many initiatives across our financials. I'm going to look at a number of recently released features that you may have missed and talk about some near future features that will help you optimize cash and profits. In corporate performance management, or enterprise performance management as some people call it, accounting, procurement, modern business models, supporting the modern business models that you use, and suite banking, of course. I've got to mention suite banking. With corporate performance management, I want to start with a renaissance, as all financial presentations always start, and the Vitruvian Man. It is a late 15th century drawing by Leonardo da Vinci intended to explore the idea of proportion. The piece is a part work of art and a part mathematical diagram, conveying the old master's belief that everything connects to everything else. And the point here is that today's CFO must be Vitruvian in their approach, understanding that everything connects to everything else in business. And what better tool than NetSuite to help you achieve being a true Renaissance business person, one who is known to both count the beans and to grow them. Our corporate performance tools help our CFOs achieve this. The first component I'm going to talk about was mentioned earlier today, and that is NetSuite planning and budgeting. This module has been widely taken up by our customers across all industries, and decades of experience have shown us that customers who budget in Excel struggle with data integrity issues, and almost all Excel files have an error of some sort or end up shared across hundreds of users. A lot of the time, very important company information. NetSuite Planning and Budgeting delivers a solution that streamlines the budgeting process with advanced modeling, forecasting, automation, workflow, data collection, and analytics that are optimized for continuous planning and budgeting. And with planning and budgeting, we continue to work on new models that you can pick up for your industry, et cetera, that can get you started on planning and budgeting, and offering new areas like demand planning that allows you to do sales and operational planning that drives your supply planning or MRP solutions within your organization as well. We have integration into Excel, controlled integration that is secure to manage the entire workflow, so information isn't sitting out on lots of people's PCs on notebooks. And as was mentioned this morning, we're soon going to be introducing Google Sheets as a controlled way of people interacting with budgets as well. It's fully multi-currency and multi-subsidiary. And we've introduced new versioning that allows you to snapshot multiple versions and compare them easily to see the differences, and a workflow tool that will manage the process of budgeting. So beyond budgeting, I'm going to talk about NetSuite account reconciliation. And this is a vital period-end task. And for many companies, this can be an excessively time-consuming event. However, it is vital for the auditing of books and the presentation of accurate financials. A new solution out soon is NetSuite Account Reconciliation, as sort of mentioned this morning. NetSuite Account Reconciliation leverages the latest cloud technologies to manage and automate your account reconciliation process. It reduces manual tasks, the time to close, and improves the accuracy of your financial statements. It automates high-volume transaction matching, helping you to perform complex reconciliations in a snap. So I'm going to have a quick look at this. I've logged into NetSuite Account Reconciliation. I see all the tasks and workflows required in order to reconcile my accounts. But let's drill into everything that needs reconciled. So we'll go in there. I will select prepaid expenses, and right away, you'll notice that there's a $30,000 balance that needs to be explained. In addition, on the summary sheet, there is an ending balance that can be directly linked to your GL with drillback functionality. We offer a section that allows users to attach documentation and make comments to support the reconciliation. You can use a balance explanation section, which we'll get to in a moment, to support the outstanding items. So you can import transactions or manually enter them to support that reconciliation. In cases where there are hundreds or even thousands of transactions to reconcile, you can use transaction matching. Users will be able to see that auto-matching has taken place, and it will suggest items that need to be reviewed to be matched. So you can review those, and if you're happy, confirm them. And users can use the unmatched grid and select transaction items until the balance equals 0. And once the variance is equal to 0, the match is made, the items are removed from the unmatched grid. So NetSuite Account Reconciliation will allow us to streamline the whole reconciliation process. And it will be a new solution that is coming out very, very shortly. After NetSuite Account Reconciliation, we want you to continue to help you automate and streamline the production of regulatory disclosures. That's a difficult word for me, I'm afraid, regulatory, so you might get a number of different versions of that during this presentation. NetSuite Narrative Reporting enables cross-functional teams to collaborate on financial data and documentation beyond the traditional Ks and Qs, simplifying regulatory filings. From tax disclosures to EDGA forms, NetSuite Narrative Reporting modernizes your SEC approach, digitizing the entire filing process, automating the process of SEC filings and investor relations materials. NetSuite Narrative Reporting will follow after the release of NetSuite Account Reconciliation, delivering a complete suite that covers all aspects of corporate and enterprise reporting and planning. Now let's move from corporate performance management to accounting, where we continue to release features that help automate accounting process so that you have excellent visibility and complete control of your business. Labor expense allocation is a recent release that allows you to more effectively allocate labor costs so you can better measure the profitability of focused areas of your businesses, such as product lines, major projects, grants, etc. You can allocate payroll costs, including salary and fringe benefits, to benefiting programs, projects, or segments. And you can retrieve pay data and employee timesheets generated from NetSuite or external systems to give you a lot more granular reporting against with labor rather than just one large overhead. As mentioned, NetSuite has always been a solution designed to run a business. That means it has allowed companies to be able to operationally run the way that they want, taking advantage of growing internationally, acquiring companies, etc. At the same time, it provides the financials to accurately and effectively process all transactions, and we saw a bit of this earlier in the keynote this morning. As a result, the majority of our customers run on companies on NetSuite, and more often international companies. So we continue to release functionality that automates this ever-increasing complex and compliance-driven process. The Intercompany Netting Workbook is the latest feature that helps automate this process by monitoring and netting intercompany transactions across all subsidiaries. With an intuitive experience that simplifies and then learns of any manual matching, helping customers automate this period-end process. We have also released actually a lot of features across purchasing and procurement. Really centralized requisitions and POs is one example. Another is expense budget and commitments or encumbrance accounting. This allows validation of purchase requests, orders, and vendor bills against available budget and preventing overspend. It ensures that budgets are followed and not accidentally exceeded. And this is a very nice suite app that's out there that will help you manage and control that side of the business. But we are also looking at helping you further streamline the entire indirect procurement process. As we heard earlier today, we have automated the entire AP process, which is at the back end of the procurement workflow. We are now working on automating the front end with integration to the Oracle Business Network, which supports seamless integration to all the major suppliers. And let's have a look at a demo of what this will do. So here I'm a new employee, and I have to purchase a new PC for my job. So I go to order my equipment, and it takes me directly into one of the approved suppliers, which is Dell. Gives me an opportunity to look at the PCs that are available to me. I can select the one, look at the different approved configurations that our customer, that we have within the Dell environment. Select the solution, the PC needed, add that to my requisition, add more items into it if need be, or then decide, no, this is what I want. Create the requisition with all the associated costs and submit that, and that comes directly back into NetSuite as a requisition or a purchase request with all the appropriate information. So the cost center, the budget, it brings in the information from the Dell system that it punched out to automatically, filling in all the appropriate information and automating that. And then, of course, once that's done, it will automate once you receive it, it'll automate the whole AP and reconciliation process. So streamlining the whole indirect procurement side. And this is something we're working on now and we'll be releasing shortly. So we're also seeing more and more advanced business models being rolled out by our customers. As a service or subscription business, we're becoming more and more prevalent. We're moving beyond, subscriptions are moving well beyond the software world into more and more industries. The number of companies now that are selling hardware, selling products, selling software, selling subscriptions, linking them all together, having IoT devices out there in the field is huge. So the subscription businesses are growing and growing. And with our suite billing module, we continue to add functionality to support companies who need to manage this type of business model, and we continue to add more and more billing methods. But one of the solutions coming out very shortly is our new SaaS Metrics 360. This is a powerful, intuitive dashboard with a clean and modern appeal that provides visibility into key subscription metrics. So let's go and have a quick look at the SaaS Metrics dashboard. So in here, you'll see the particular view giving you a complete snapshot of your metrics at this time, the monthly recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue, customers, etc. But if we just look what happens behind the scenes, if we go into the preferences and set that up, you can determine exactly where your subscription information is coming from. Is it coming from sales orders? Is it coming from invoice? Is it coming from an external system? Is it coming from suite billing? Is it coming from contract renewals? Where is the subscription coming from? How it all maps across into the SaaS metrics information. And once that's done, the system will automatically calculate the information we're about to see. So again, users will be able to identify what is their monthly recurring revenue. In a summary, what is their annual recurring revenue, the total customers, new customers, churn rates, etc., and then roll forward reports, annual recurring revenue, 12-month roll forwards, views, as well as monthly, and then breaking that down again to new revenue, churn revenue, upsell, etc., and a monthly view too, and also utilizing, giving you a view of customer accounts as well, customers added, customers attrited, etc. And then with all of that information, being able to visually view that graphically as well, we part the SaaS Metrics 360 with the ability to filter on anything, filter on a product line, filter on a subsidiary, filter on any of the financial metrics to give you a snapshot of what is needed. So that SaaS Metrics 360 will be coming out very, very shortly. We heard this morning about the new NetSuite rebates and trade promotions. We went through it in detail, but this is one of my favorite new modules. It's a newly rebuilt solution that supports the ever-increasing complex rebates and promotions that have been driven by modern business. We see all the subscription side, but also managing rebates is becoming more and more of an issue as margins become less and less, particularly in wholesale distributors. And this solution simplifies the management and timely execution, and timely being the key word, of trade promotions, saving time, increasing efficiency, centralizing and automating the creation, execution, accrual, and reconciliation of vendor and customer rebate programs. It ensures that you're always offering the customer most valid competitive price. Right at order entry, the salesperson can see exactly which rebates have been applied and why, including complex multi-tiered rebates and which are not. And as orders are executed, shipped, invoiced, paid, or even returned, the solution dynamically manages the accruals, discounts, payments in and payments out. And as I said, as margins become tighter and tighter, and especially in the world of wholesale distribution, this process can be the difference between profitable and thriving and not. So on Suite Banking, Cash 360 was recently delivered. It allows controllers a dedicated view that brings together all areas that impact cash flow into an intuitive 360 workspace that allows them to view and model cash flow. And I know lots of people have taken the Cash Flow 360. We're continuing to enhance this solution, adding more and more granular multi-company support and the ability to gather cash-impacting information dynamically from more parts of the suite. So at any point in time, you can see accurate cash flow with the ability to model that quickly and easily. AP automation, I have to mention AP automation, although you've seen it multiple times because of the incredible sales opportunity, so I have to mention it. And the two big components, bill scan and capture, I won't go through, I think everyone knows the advantage that brings, and also payment automation and the ability to automate this process. And both of these, again, are like the other solutions I've mentioned already, are all about automating processes and giving you more time to work on value-added tasks rather than value-less tasks. And the great thing about essentially payment automation, if you use virtual credit card functionality, that new area, you can turn AP from a cost center to a revenue generator, so you can make money off it. So very innovative. So anyway, that's a number of great initiatives across Optimized Cash and Profits. Now let's look at create and deliver products and services and its impact on operations. A key word we've used to describe our initiatives around create and deliver products and services is autonomous. And actually, you could use autonomous to describe what we've been doing in financials as well, getting things to happen automatically. And you've heard us talk about the autonomous supply chain over the last couple of years. And similar to many other areas, reimagining and re-engineering workflows to take advantage of new technologies to empower the value stream with experience, insight, automation, intelligence, and sweetness. And we've done this across the suite in areas such as planning, inventory management, execution, as you saw in the keynote, warehouse management, and suite projects. First of all, supply planning. I just wanted to mention this again. This was a multi-release deliverable that we completely re-engineered the supply planning and MRP functionality, supporting from enterprise to local planning, a dedicated planning repository that allows it to function with real speed, managing multiple models with comparisons to see which is the best model to execute what-if analysis, and a great front end for a planner to determine what they need to action, what they need to release, what they need to buy, so it sort of streamlines that entire process. And if you're doing any type of inventory planning, I recommend you look at the new supply planning solution that we continue to update as well. We recently released Smart Count, which is a real-time count engine, which is an update to our traditional physical and cycle counting functionality. And it's perfect for really fast-moving or erratic situations. So fast-moving where you can't take items down because you constantly need to be shipping them, so you can't pause all transactions until you count an item, or erratic like a retail store, where you might have shoppers picking up items and other people shipping items direct to the consumer, etc. So Smart Count handles all of those type of count areas. It's mobile, it handles ad hoc, as I said, and it has an automated approvals process. I'm a big believer in approvals, that if you look at something and you just say that's approved, then it's not what's holding everything up waiting for your approval. It's far better for the system to automate that approval and tell you that it's done and allows the transaction to go. So again, with our suite approvals, we utilize it in here to automate approvals where needed, so we don't hold up workflow. And again, all an excellent mobile experience using our manufacturing mobile framework. Now, we're also about to release the new Item 360. It's a dashboard that brings together everything that impacts inventory and delivers it an experience that allows users to answer all inventory questions quickly and accurately. So let's have a look at the new Item 360. So we have a new portlet that you can add to a dashboard that will basically determine which items need attending to based on different priorities. So you can take one of those and then drill into the Item 360, which will tell you everything about that item. Again, it's a very clean look. It'll take you and give a description of the item. It'll show you all the alerts. It'll show you the status, the total inventory, the profile of how inventory's changed, the total valuation, and everything that needs to be looked at right now with this particular item, either inbound or outbound. From here as well, you can go in and you can see a complete snapshot of inventory. And rather than lots of panels, we have this concertina effect that allows you to quickly see the information that you want. So in this particular case, it starts off with inventory on hand. And it shows you exactly how the inventory on hand is made up across all locations that you have access to. And it then breaks down to every other area that you can see in detail. So inbound transactions, you can look at other areas like the status of all the inventory. We'll open that up. You see the status of inventory across the enterprise, inbound and outbound, what bins it's in even, etc. But if we go back to the inbound transactions, when you're looking at any of these views as well, you can see all the information, but you can also go and filter it quickly and easily as well. So I can switch on a filter and I can say, you know something, I just want to see in these inventory transactions what's inbound in New York. And I want to look at that, and then it will filter that instantly to show me what's just happening in New York. And I can do that for each of the individual views if I wish, or I can go in and I can filter the entire 360 to just look at that particular location that I'm interested in. So in this case, New York. And again, everything will now focus around New York. And what I will now do is I'll go and look at the projected on hand. So this is a time phase view. So if I start rolling time forward, what's the impact on inventory going to be? What are all the ins and outs that are going to take place? And I can drill down to any of those transactions if needed. I can see that I've got an issue on this day, on the 3rd, that we're going to be down one, but we're going to replenish that quite quickly. And again, gives you this real-time time phase view. And again, like everywhere else, it's got a filter, so I can go back up and I could say, you know something, I want to know date-wise what we're going to have available on the 17th. So I'll select that, and again, it will go and then filter that down. It will show me that I'll have 41 at the end of the day on the 17th, based on everything executing on time. Excuse me. Now, within within the 360, again, you can go through the different focus areas. What are all the purchasing impacts that I'm interested in? What is happening manufacturing-wise across the board? And then also, I can go and see what is happening sales-wise as well. And I'll just go and click on sales. And I can look at all the sales order. Also, anywhere you highlight, you'll get a quick card that summarizes that row. And again, I can see there's a lot of sales from the UK, so I'm going to go and filter on the UK, and I'm just going to see what's there. And again, in every one of these areas as well, in this 360, there's also analytics that are available too. So it'll give you an analytical insight into what is happening with that particular product, in this case, sales-wise. So what are the gross sales, the net sales, and again, with all the capabilities you get within Suite Analytics in order to filter that, et cetera, are available within the 360. So the 360 will be out shortly, and it'll give a brand new way of really understanding what's happening with inventory so you can be a lot more productive. Also, manufacturing mobile in execution is an area that we put a lot of investment into recently. And we released a new manufacturing mobile framework a couple of releases ago, and we continue to optimize it and build out the solution based on working with thousands of our customers. In this release, we've provided additional validations in order to reduce the potential for data entry mistakes or errors downstream. So trying to validate more and more upfront in a performant manner, and trying to improve the overall experience for manufacturing employees, taking out clicks and other things, so making it as streamlined as possible. We've also added new features. So we added a new assembly build or Kanban feature that will support people that want to do work orderless operations. Ship Central, we talked about it. I won't spend too much time on this, but this is a new mobile Arceus application that enhances the entire packing to shipping delivery process. And it expedites that whole shipping process and streamlines it. So together with NetSuite WMS, Ship Central provides an end-to-end capability for picking, packing, and shipping products. And again, this is a multi-release feature where we released PackStation recently, and now Ship Central completes that. It allows you to locate shipments, combine multiple shipments, and optimize across multiple shipping carriers to get the correct price at the correct level of customer service that's needed, and automate that entire shipping process. In WMS, I wanted to talk about a workforce management system here just very briefly. It has evolved massively over the last few years from a simple inventory and control data capture tool to a sophisticated system that includes industry and warehouse management best practice. It optimizes inbound and outbound inventory operations. It minimizes travel time for the operators in the warehouse, improves inventory and shipping accuracy, leading to greater customer satisfaction. And NetSuite WMS today offers greater usability and flexibility with rule-based configuration to fit the needs of most product companies and warehouses. It's easy to customize the mobile interfaces for the operators so that they can work most efficiently. And with WMS, we've continued to add new features, as we have done in every release recently. We've added Smart Count as a core part now of WMS, even though it can be used standalone. And as part of that, we've added new features into WMS to best take advantage of it. The new empty bin feature is such a feature. It allows operators, while fulfilling orders, to easily flag empty bins, ensuring that a count is triggered for resolving the issues. And more importantly, the allocation and fulfillment process can then direct pickers to the right locations and increase efficiency. So we've delivered functionality over the last couple of releases in Suite projects focused around the project accountant, which did a lot of work around budgeting, et cetera, and more recently the project manager with the new Project 360 dashboard, which we continue to develop and release new insights in each release. And we'll be embarking on providing more functionality for the consultants so they can carry out their work more effectively. And I'll talk a bit more about that in the Hire and Empower Employees value stream. So acquire and grow, I know it's not really part of our operations or finance, but it has a big impact on it. And again, I just wanted to quickly talk about CPQ, which is the new feature that was announced this morning and yesterday in Evan's presentation. And capturing information up front in the sales process, complex sales information, being able to automate that, enable your salespeople to sell more accurately, enable your customers to order more accurately, drives revenue. But more importantly, it solves massive problems downstream in the production and fulfillment and delivery phase. It gets exponentially more expensive to fix problems as you go, both in physical cost and in customer sat. So the CPQ engine with configurated dynamic pricing, guided selling, and bill of material execution evaluations really streamlines this process, and it affects us positively with our operations, and at the end of the day, driving better profitability for the business. And finally, hire and empower employees, again, not directly linked to finance and operations, but again, our recent announcement here helps substantially. And I wanted to talk really quickly about the consultant. We've done a lot of work on time and expenses and sort of automating that process in the way that expenses are managed, in the way that expenses are captured, things like corporate credit card integration with Amex. And when we finished AP automation, as that just comes out, we're going to be looking at scan and capture to help automate the whole expense capture process as well. So we're going to be improving that whole workflow. And on the workforce management side, the better you can schedule to make sure that right up front you're doing it the most profitably and equitable and compliance-driven way, and you're capturing all the information in the time and attendance system as accurately as possible, so that you're calculating payroll effectively and engaging with your staff, that is going to drive profitability, because again, you're going to be doing it right first time, right up front, which streamlines all the other processes. So again, even in hire and empower employees, we're constantly coming up with new features and functionality that are going to improve your overall experience. Okay, and then finally, I wanted to talk about Suite Analytics and the insight that it drives. We've done a huge amount of investment within Suite Analytics over the last couple of years. And some of that was mentioned this morning by Gary. So evolving and adding new tools and technologies with Suite Analytics workbooks, data sets, and more recently NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, which I want to talk about, which I actually use personally for doing analytics for my own role within product management and looking how people are using our product effectively. So the great thing about NetSuite Analytics Warehouse is it's enterprise-grade technology available to all of our customers. It handles millions of rows of data. It can transform, it can do transformations and workflows in order to take data into structures that will best support the way that end users want to analyze data. So taking it from a technology view to a far more business-oriented view. It uses machine learning and AI to serve up insights that you might not even thought about, we might not have thought about, that are relevant to your particular organizations. And it can connect, as it says here, to any data source, either on-premise or in the cloud. So again, you can build unified models to analyze what's going on. But here as well, what we do is we just don't deliver the tool set, which is outstanding, but we deliver hundreds of pieces of content, transactions, entities, records, so everything from NetSuite automatically available within NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. We cover lots of different business areas. So we've added software and projects as new business areas that we cover, and a lot of content out of the box that people can pick up and use. And then, as Gary said this morning, we deliver that in context. So delivering, financials information, so gross margin, spend analytics, sales information, sales order overviews, customer growth, operations for services, procurement, inventory, and industry-specific capabilities across retail, software, services, wholesale distribution, and manufacturing. So right out of the box for your different roles in industry, there's content available. And what I really like about NetSuite Analytics Warehouse is it's so easy to interact with the analytics to get what you might want at a specific moment in time. And I'm just going to show you a very simple example of this. So here I'm going to go in here to that particular out-of-the-box content, and it sells, average order value by quarter. And I want to look at this by geography. So I'll go in and I'll edit the analytic. And then on the left-hand side, I see all the options that I can use to do further analysis. And I want to look at locations. So I'm going to go into the sales order, go to the customer, the address book area, and look at the customer address. And I'm interested in the city that they're in. I want to see where sales are. So I'll go over to one of the metrics here. And I'm going to say, I want to take this average order value, and I'll look at it in a map. And I'm saying, well, if you want to look at a map, you need to give me a bit of geography. So I'll go to the city. And it'll replace that in there, and then immediately shows me sales across the US by city. So taking that visualization and getting a completely different one that I want for one particular role. I don't want to look at it different colors by quarter. I just want to see the average for the entire year. So it's just an example, and I can then save this for me. It's just an example of how simple and easy it is to do visualizations. A lot of time, people see this and they think, oh, that's tough to do. It's not. It is genuinely, exceptionally easy for you to get new visualization, new insights with the tooling that's available in NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. So, with that, I want to introduce Ranga Bodla, who's going to come in with a customer panel to really talk about what happens when the rubber hits the road, which is how people really use it. So, Ranga, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Hopefully you've been enjoying SuiteWorld so far. Hopefully you've been enjoying the sessions. And hopefully you've gotten the perspective, both from Paul's keynote, from Gary's keynote, from Evan's keynote, that our focus is continuing to invest in what we're doing in terms of finance and operations. My name is Ranga Bodla. I'm responsible for field engagement and marketing, and I've been a 12-year NetSuite veteran. And during that time, I've had the privilege of getting to work with a lot of great customers. And what we thought would be a great way to end this session was to bring 3 of them up to the stage and to hear a little bit about their story and to share a little bit about how they're leveraging everything that we're doing in terms of finance and operations. And as what Paul really shared is, we've invested a ton. We've delivered a lot over the last 2 years in particular, and we're going to continue that moving forward, and you're going to see that. So with that, let me go ahead and introduce, let each of them introduce themselves. And Brian, if you want to start and introduce your role and company.
Sure, yeah. Good afternoon. I'm Brian McLean. I'm the CFO at Real Networks in Seattle, Washington, and I'm going through about, I think this is my 3rd implementation in the last 6 years. So,
Tanya?
Thank you, Ranga. Thank you, NetSuite, for the invitation to come to this customer panel. Super excited, my first time at SuiteWorld. I work for Trace3. Trace3 is an IT consulting company. We sell hardware, software, professional services, and managed services. We have core expertise in hybrid network, security, cloud, data intelligence. We started 20 years ago. This is a major year for us and our anniversary. And
Congratulations.
we have,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's very exciting. And we've now grown not just organically, but also through acquisitions. So we are across the U.S., and we have hub locations in Colorado, Texas, New Jersey. That's where I'm in Connecticut in the East Coast. We have in Kentucky as well, and Texas. And we are about 2,500 customers, mid-size to large, and about 1,000 employees. So happy to be here. Oh, in my role, I'm the VP of IT, Strategy and Analytics, and I led the return of Trace3 to NetSuite. So I'll tell you more about that throughout the panel.
Great, and last but not least, of course, we didn't want to just give you networking equipment or, software. We thought we'd give you something a little more of a tastier customer. So, Connor?
Yeah, my name is Connor Ray. I'm the CFO and co-founder at Johnny Pops. So we manufacture and sell frozen novelty treats that you can find at retailers across the country. A little bit different spot on the spectrum than these two from a product standpoint, also from a size standpoint. So our company turns 10 this year, not quite the milestone of 20, but we're working on getting there. And 10 years ago, we were selling product at farmers markets. And over the course of 10 years, we scaled our manufacturing and operations and our product portfolio, and now distribute product to over 10,000 retail locations across all 50 states and several foreign countries as well.
It's an amazing growth journey, and we'll look forward to hearing a little bit more and how that relates on the NetSuite side. Now, Brian, as you said, you've implemented NetSuite twice. You're now looking into your 3rd. Just talk a little bit about your NetSuite journey. I mean, it's a little smaller stage here, but you've been on the NetSuite stage here before as well. So just tell a little bit about your NetSuite journey, please.
So we started with NetSuite at a manufacturing company up in Seattle called Loud Audio. We implemented it there. We manufactured speakers like the hanging arrays here, all the sound equipment, etc. And then I was with a private equity firm, and we bought another company called Pelco. Pelco was one of the largest video surveillance companies in America. It was about at one point $1.5 billion or so. When we bought it, it was a $200 million company, and we implemented NetSuite as well with a contract manufacturing side. So we went through that process as well. And I think one of the key things that I've learned in the implementation process is focus on foundation, right? Get the foundation, the core functions done correctly up front, and then worry about all the other things and phase it in. You'll be a lot more successful, and it'll be a lot easier on your teams. And then the other thing that I think is really critical is, if at all possible, stay away from the modifications. I think from our perspective, being able to not have modified a lot of different functions has been really key to our success. Because if you think about that modification process, every time they do a patch, there's a potential to break the modification. Every time you upgrade, you have to go out and figure out, how am I going to upgrade that modification? So I think those two things have been probably the foundation on our success, is trying to eliminate both of those.
Tanya, tell us a little bit about your story. You guys had participated in the Great Resignation in a slightly different way. So maybe tell us about your story with NetSuite, and what you've experienced and how you're looking at NetSuite moving forward.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, we started with NetSuite as a startup company. This predates me, but I think it's a funny story, because we started with NetSuite, but we highly customized it. We highly modified it. We were growing very fast, and we kind of tailored everything to the different regions that were coming up. What happened then is that then we didn't have a system that could really scale, because we had so many customization. It was hard to maintain. And we left NetSuite thinking, oh, well, maybe it's the system, the issue, right? So we go out and we start looking at, what do we need for a CRM? What do we need for quoting? What do we need for ERP? And all of these, we go and select different tools. Now, you try to make all of these tools work and the data flow, and people didn't even know which tool to log in to do their business. I mean, it was complicated. So for 18 months, the company really tried to make this work. And around the same time, we also bought the very first company, about the same size. Now, that company had been in a system for 14 years that they loved, right? Super tailored to their needs. So I was brought into the picture because they were like, hey, we got a mess here. We got this over here is not working. This over here is working. We need to do something. And we had a new CEO that came in that had a lot of experience with NetSuite. We had half of the population that already knew NetSuite, and we made the decision to return and come back to NetSuite. And I'll tell you, we had such a different appreciation, respect for the integrative nature of NetSuite. The fact that, our CRM data just flowed, smoothly without anything for us to do into ERP, that our PSA stuff, our professional services just flew, smoothly into our financials. It was just unbelievable, and the reporting out of the box. We didn't do this alone. I would say, as far as the lessons learned, I think it's super important to do a couple of things. First, you need to have that executive sponsorship. This is not, I'm in IT. It is not an IT project. It's a business project. So you need to make sure that you have the right level of executive sponsorship and cross-functional representation. Second, pick an implementation partner that has experience in your vertical. So when we had tried that other solution, we just picked an implementation partner that didn't have that VAR experience. So for us, it was very critical. And I have my implementation partner here, Catalyst, who helped us not only transition, but also bring this other company. And we did it in 9 months. I say NetSuite is my baby, because in 9 months to do all of that was just truly amazing. So I would say that's the second. The second is to make sure that you have an implementation partner that knows your vertical. And third, stay within the best practices. So we use a lot of what NetSuite has put out there, like the suite bundle for VARs, right? Why reinvent the wheel when they have things out there that can support us? And then before we go out and customize things and modify things, because we learned our lesson, we look into the ecosystem of partners that you guys have. We've selected a lot of those suite apps. So we try to keep it as vanilla as possible. And it's been very successful that way.
And lastly, Connor, and maybe the Johnny Pop story.
Yeah, absolutely. So we added NetSuite to our journey about 5 years ago. Since implementing NetSuite, our customer has also, our base of business has also more than quadrupled. So it's been a little bit of a ride for us. When we were looking at what the right tools were for us, our primary pain point was this tangle of how to get operational data, both just work done and then into financials, specifically for us around multi-location inventory management, as we were starting to support an ever-increasing number of customers, items, and locations where we were staging this inventory. And multiple systems, spreadsheets, everything was just a total nightmare. And so we looked at a variety of systems that could help us with that, and ultimately selected NetSuite because of our belief in the technology's ability to continue to evolve with our business. You know, we were on a rapid growth trajectory, and to us, going through 9 months seems pretty good to me, but let's just call it a year-long process to really cement processes in place that were designed for a business that was going to double in size within 12 to 24 months. Would have been quite a bit of wasted effort. And we really believed in the ability of NetSuite to configure without customizing, which when I talk to my team, and I think we all share this, right. To me that means you're not doing things that break the system's ability to continue to upgrade itself, draw outside the native functionality. And the keynote today talked a little bit about Suite Cloud and the ability to do all of those extensions within the system. I have not found a system that's more configurable than NetSuite without needing to write code, but you do need a system that works for your business. There are just business requirements that need to be met, and we knew that those were going to change. And so we've been very successful as we've grown. I think our original NetSuite quote probably had 8 users on it, and today we're pretty close to 100 different users. We have had to evolve the system and implement new pieces of technology. We started with the core. We needed to get inventory and core financial processes, but we followed along with a number of these investments. WMS, for one, is top of mind. We've adopted manufacturing mobile. And those have really helped us keep everything together, minimize the amount of customization, and allowed us to scale. Because when you're on a growth trajectory of north of 50% per year, you can't get that done without solid foundations. And if some of these problems of multiple systems or how to get them to talk to each other to catch up to you, you just come to a grinding halt, and that becomes a major problem.
Absolutely. You all shared some really great advice just in terms of not customizing or keeping it vanilla, trying to stick to the best practices, but still needing to stay close to your industry. Paul shared a lot of new features that have been deployed and put out there. Gary shared a bunch of things that are coming. Yeah. What advice would you give to folks here as they spend the next day and a half still as they learn about some of these new things? What's the best way that you all found from your experience now, absorbing kind of the new functionality and thinking, hey, when are we going to go put in, say, AP automation, or when are we going to put in NSAW or planning and budgeting, or how do you make those decisions? And whoever wants to.
Yeah, I would say it's about prioritization more than anything. Prioritize what's important to your business. What's the most important piece of that upgrade process that's out there, and then focus on it. And again, I keep saying focus because focus on the foundation, focus on the phase that you're working on, because there's 100 different things you can go out and add to NetSuite. And it does 2 things. It overwhelms your team, and you don't give each of them the necessary time and energy. So I think prioritization, from my perspective, is probably key to any of the add-on capabilities that you want to put into the NetSuite family.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. We have a process that's called OKR, starts from the top and down, and so we have operational excellence OKRs. So for next year, we got to look at how do we continue to fine-tune finance and operations, partial billing. How do we shorten our month-end close, which I like that session. I went yesterday to it. So there's certain things that we have defined. So on that side, we need to that from a grow the client perspective, the value streams that you were mentioning there, we have the goal to really increase our services. Our managed services is growing significantly, so we are looking already like, well, how does the suite billing help us? The SaaS metrics, I really like that, so we got to take a look at that. And then I would say the next big thing is our digital experience, our customers' digital experience. We really want to improve that and revamp what we have today. So that's another OKR, it's another high initiative, has a lot of sponsorship, so we're taking a look at Suite Commerce. We're going to continue to grow through acquisition. I mean, it's funny, but it's a good market right now, it seems like. So we need to expedite how fast we can bring companies in. And so right now we're in that 6 to 9 months. They want us to bring that down to 3 months and make it more of a data migration exercise. And analytics. Analytics is a big part, so we got a lot of things that we're looking in there. So not sure that I'm answering the question directly, but that's kind of like how we're looking at it, from an OKR perspective.
Makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. And Connor, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I wish I had a silver bullet for that question, because the reality, especially for us being in food and bev and operationally heavy, a lot of these investments in supply chain solutions made by NetSuite have given us a multi-year backlog of cool things we'd like to do. But we come at it from a business perspective first, where business problems, challenges, and priorities are identified, and we then look at the NetSuite solutions that can be brought to the table to resolve those. As much as I wish I could just take my wish list from here back to the business and say there's these really cool things I want to go do, that gets you the executive buy-in, and you're then prioritizing against business need versus just this looks really cool and would make 1 or 2 people's lives easier, but really isn't the biggest challenge. But I'd love to be able to accelerate the rate at which we could knock some of those things off, because there is a lot of really impressive new tools out there that will add value to our business.
Well, I appreciate all your insights. Please join me and give a round of applause to these 3 customers. And if you want to try Johnny Pops, I think it's going to be at the expo floor. We're going to do a tasting at 2 o'clock, I believe.
Yes, 2 o'clock on the expo floor. There'll be product available.
If you're interested in trying them out. Well, thank you all for attending today's Finance and Operations Keynote. Hopefully you've gotten a good sense of not just the innovations that we've been able to deliver over the last couple of years, but also where we're going, where we're investing, where we're continuing to add functionality and deliver for all of you. We'll be up here if you have any other questions for us, and thank you and enjoy the rest of your Suite World.
Yeah. Thank you.
No sleep, no key, I lost him in the street, and no, I can't see without you.